When are we finally going to be getting some brand new Switch 2 first-party games? Of course, we already have a handful, Mario Kart World, we have Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokeopia, which is just taking over everybody's spare and free time right now. But we do have something to cover today that is actually from the president of Nintendo, talking about exactly where these Switch 2 first-party games are and I guess, behind the scenes of what they're thinking when they plan on dropping some more. Of course, since this is a newer console, obviously we do already have some Switch 2 exclusive games, but it goes without saying that we definitely need more. If you guys are brand new and haven't been following the channel, basically recently, the biggest things we've been talking about are the 3D Mario game. Like, we should be getting a big 3D Mario game. We've had a ton of reputable people actually come out to say that this should be coming out this year in 2026. And if you ask me, that would probably most likely mean the holiday season, like around October, November, December-ish, right? For that next big 3D Mario game to be fully revealed and released and everything. And on top of that, we have had another reliable leak, or I guess source, talk about a Zelda remake or some sort of remaster for the 40th anniversary of Zelda this year. And that's from the same source that I believe said the Xenoblade Chronicles X stuff a couple of months ago, which did come out on the Switch 2, the Switch 2. I always forget to add the 2 in there. But basically right here, you can see that the Nintendo president said that the Switch 2 development will take longer, making it harder to release new games at a good pace. So he recommends the new players play Switch 1 games as well, which we definitely see them pushing out the Switch 1 stuff a lot. They just dropped that big update for the Switch 2 that actually lets you upscale a lot of Switch 1 games up to 1080p on the handheld mode, and it looks great. Like, so many games actually have improved so much with the visuals because of that. Once again, that is just backing up this statement right here that's actually coming from a couple of months ago, and it's just crazy to see that they genuinely are focusing on Switch 1 games. As weird as that sounds, they're also heavily focusing on third-party big releases. So with that being said, we should be getting a general direct, right? We've had everything else. We've had the Treehouse, we've had little directs, bigger directs for the partnership showcase. We had the Galaxy movie stuff going on. So literally the only thing that I could think of that is left is quite literally a Nintendo general direct. And if you don't know the significance or importance behind that, it's basically because the general directs are the big announcements for the big first-party stuff, being new Mario game, 3D big open world, whatever you may call it, Mario game, new Zelda game, a new Splatoon game or something, which we are getting that new Splatoon game this year. Splatoon Raiders definitely looks kind of interesting. I will be playing this and I will let you guys know how it is. I do already know a good amount of upcoming games and stuff, but for the most part, there's no huge heavy hitters for the Switch 2 exclusive first-party Nintendo games. They continue to say software development costs are higher and development periods are longer, making it more challenging to continue introducing new titles at a good pace. The Switch 2 can also play compatible Switch software, so we would like to recommend Switch software as well to consumers who are picking up a game console for the first time. With these considerations in mind, we believe we'll be able to maintain the momentum of our Switch 2 business by striking a good balance between introducing new titles and encouraging consumers to play evergreen titles over a long period of time. And just to summarize what he just said, all of that, basically, they claim and think that their games are so good, essentially, that why not just enjoy it on the Switch 2, which I low-key do agree, because the Switch 2, I'm serious, in handheld mode, it is so much better than the regular Switch. I never owned a Switch OLED, so I can't really compare it to the OLED, but it's definitely a big upgrade, and I have enjoyed gaming a lot more on the Switch 2 than the Switch 1, just because it looks so much better. We recently have been seeing all these third-party companies bring their games over to the Switch 2. We even have the Indiana Jones game coming out soon. Tons of games are actually making their way over to the Switch 2 that probably never would have been able to be on that Switch 1 ever. I think that's pretty awesome because it is going to open up so many possibilities for all these third-party companies. And I know you guys may be not interested in so much in third-party stuff, but it is interesting because of the fact that we can really see what games can work on the Switch 2 and then maybe kind of guess how more of these first-party Nintendo games could actually be, what they could actually achieve on this console. And the next Nintendo General Direct, I'm thinking, is probably going to be April. I mean, it still could be this month in March. The month is not over. It would not be too insane for them to just announce it within the next couple of days here and then have it at the end of the month or something, but I kind of don't think it's going to happen. I do think we will see one before the end of summertime. I know that's a long time to wait, but they have to announce something. That's the only thing left. I mean, the Switch 2 sales are good. They are selling a good amount of consoles, especially with Pokeopia being so successful. I'm sure many people are buying a Switch 2 just to play Pokopia, and my goodness, dare I say it's worth it. I think Pokopia is awesome. It is so addicting, and I swear everybody that you will talk to that has played this game, 99.9% of the time will say it's addicting as well. I guess to wrap that part up, before we move on to the next segment, they seem like they are dedicated to make good games and develop these Switch 2 games to make sure they are ready to be released, which is a good thing. So overall, that is good news for Nintendo. I mean, I guess you could say it's bad news because we don't really have a ton yet, but the Switch 2 just came out less than a year ago. It's going to be with us for the next couple of years. But with that being said, the Switch 2 will actually have a removable battery in Europe. Are you kidding me? I was just talking to myself about how the Switch 2 battery is terrible. Like, I played Pokopia for, I swear, an hour and a half maybe, and my battery is almost completely drained. Not even on full brightness, may I add. A removable battery would be amazing. Why is this only in Europe? There are daring owners out there who don't mind voiding the system's warranty to tinker with the battery in order to get the better performance. While that being the case here in the States, apparently our friends in Europe will soon have a version of the Switch 2 that makes battery swapping quick and easy. According to Nikki, or Nikkei, I'm not really sure how to pronounce that, Nintendo is cooking up a version of the Switch 2 for Europe that allows players to open up the hardware to replace the battery with ease. Same goes for the Joy-Con 2. We'll also have removable batteries inside. That's kind of insane. I feel like the Joy-Con batteries are fine. Like, I've never had an issue with that. But apparently it's to be in accordance with the European Union's right to repair legislation. This passed in 23, but companies have until February 2027 to comply with the law. Basically, Nintendo has to do this. They have to actually do this, which is insane. I'm serious. I think this should just be a global release. Why not, dude? I would love to have a switchable battery for my Switch 2, and Nintendo, I'm just saying, you guys would get a ton of sales by doing this. Like, seriously, you guys would make so much money by doing this. It's not really necessary. I mean, like, to be fair, if my battery is completely depleted, it's probably time for me to hop off the Switch 2 anyways. But there are times where my Switch is just at, I don't know, 35% because I just had it sitting for a couple of days or a week or two, whatever, and I want to play a game, but then, you know, I could play for 20 minutes and then the Switch is already dead. You know what I mean? Because sometimes I can't play in the docked mode or I can't charge it while I'm playing it. So in some scenarios, this would be awesome. Somebody also asked Nate the Hate, do you have any information about the next 3D Mario? He said, nothing I'm going to share at the present, which is interesting because Nate the Hate didn't say that there's no information. He said nothing that I'm going to share. Does this mean that there is some information, but maybe it's just not solid enough info for us to actually know? Like, maybe the public just shouldn't know about this stuff just yet. Nate the Hate has been very, very reputable. I mean, obviously, with any leaker, like, source out there, it's pretty hard to be 100% accurate, or even sometimes these people can be 100% accurate. Some of their leaks may not just come into fruition for a while. Like, things always are getting delayed, especially in the video game industry. The movie industry sees this all the time where things are just getting delayed and delayed. Based on the whole conversation earlier that we saw with the Nintendo president, it seems like they probably have been working on the 3D Mario game. Like, if I had to guess, they have been working on this 3D Mario game for a couple of years. I mean, it takes a long time to make a good video game like this. So they've probably been working on it at least for, I would say, 2 to 3 years behind the scenes, maybe even longer. Like, genuinely, probably even longer. And we should hopefully be seeing it, I would really hope, this year. But if not, I think it's possible for next year. But in my mind, I'm like, well, next year we're getting Generation 10, Pokemon Winds and Waves. So would they really want to compete with that holiday season? Unless, you know, we have had a bunch of leaks about that, about Pokemon Winds and Waves actually releasing earlier in the year, which I've talked about all on my main channel if you want to check it out, where I talk all things Pokemon over there. It's just very interesting to, I guess, kind of see where their heads are at and, you know, when are we getting this next Mario game? But anyways, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are brand new so you don't miss all Nintendo news, leaks, and updates. If you are watching this far in the video, comment down what first-party game you'd love to see. Maybe even like a new F-Zero game. I would be so down for that. Could be the new Mario game, Pikmin, I don't know. Whatever you guys have on your mind, let me know. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.